Hi, this is Alimayo Arango of littleguycgi.com, and today I want to show you how to make a 3D female mesh, showing you how to make the head, face, and body in Blender 2.72a. So let's get started. Okay, if this is your first time in Blender, I recommend you go to File, User Preferences, and then select Input, and then choose to select with left click. Blender's default select is with right click, and this may confuse you if you're coming from Adobe or other 3D programs. While you're in here, go to add-ons and just make sure you have these add-ons selected. And what you want to do is just scroll down. You just want to make sure you have a check mark next to Mesh F2, Mesh Inset Polygon, next to Mesh Loop Tools, and also Mesh Relax. So it should look like this. And having these check marks selected will just allow you to follow along with me as we go throughout the tutorial. Okay, in Blender you manipulate objects by two main modes. That's object mode, which you see here. And then if we hit the tab key, this pie menu pops up and you can select edit mode. Most of our time inside of Blender while we're modeling this tutorial will be inside of edit mode. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is press W to bring up your specials menu. Once your specials menu pops up, you're going to choose subdivide smooth. When this subdivide smooth, after you click it one time, you'll have a subdivides menu pop up over to your left hand corner. You want to take this number of cuts up to 3. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to press Q to bring up your view options. You're going to choose front. You're then going to hit Q again, and you're going to select right here will give you the ability to go between perspective mode and orthographic. If you look right here, you'll see that we're in front perspective. We want that in orthographic, so now we'll select here and it'll put us right in orthographic mode. So now you're going to hold shift and your middle mouse button. I'm just going to drag this over so it's in the center of our screen. Let me drag my screencast key display here so you can see. Okay, in Blender you select things by vertices, edges, or faces, all of which you can see right here. So right now you're going to select the vertice select. You're going to select this vertice right here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to press the O key to turn on your proportional edit tool. When you see this blue circle light up, you know that your proportional edit tool is on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hit Q and then right. And this puts us in right orthographic perspective mode. If you ever get confused about where you're at, you can just look right here and Blender will tell you which viewport you're in and whether you're in perspective or orthographic. Okay, so basically we have this vertice selected and we have the proportional edit on. We're going to hit G. The reason why we hit G is that G it allows you to move things in Blender. One of the main reasons why we're pressing G now is you see that circle that just popped up? That is the area of influence for our proportional edit tool. So if I roll my mouse wheel back, it gets bigger. If I roll my mouse wheel down the other way, it gets smaller. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to pull on no particular axis, just about like this. And I'm rolling my mouse wheel to change the shape of the head that we're making to be what I want. So I like how it looks right there. So I'm going to left click just to lock that in. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to hold our middle mouse button and turn to the side like this. I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm then going to hit C for paint select. So because I have face select on and paint select on, I'm going to paint these 4 vertices right here. When I make heads for humanoid characters, I tend to usually use 4 faces or 8 faces. So with that selected, what we're going to do is hold our middle mouse button, turn to the side again. I'm going to hit G to grab, and then I'm going to hit Y just to pull back very slightly, like that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to hit A to deselect those faces right there. I'm holding the middle mouse button to turn. I'm also going to press O to turn off this proportional edit. When I press O, you'll note it's off because you'll see that blue circle there disappear. So With that off and face select on, I'm going to press C, and I'm just going to paint select these 8 faces right here. I'm now going to hit a right click to get out of paint select, by the way. I'm going to hit Q to bring up the view options. I'm then going to select right. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel to zoom out. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan a little bit. Now I'm going to hit E to just extrude, and we're just extruding right along the axis that the extrusion gives us. So I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, turn, just to get a more 3D look. I'm going to hit S to scale on the X axis, just slightly. I'm then going to hold my middle mouse button this way. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Y axis, like that. I'm holding the middle mouse button to turn again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control R. This puts a loop cut there, and what you see right there is a preview for the loop cut. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel once. That gives me 2 loop cuts. Then I'm going to left click to lock in. I'm going to left click a second time so that Blender, totally locks in. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit S to scale on the X axis. Bring the neck in like that. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, turn to the side. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Y axis to bring the neck in like that. And I'm just holding the middle mouse button to just look at the front view. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a face select. I'm going to hit A to make sure everything is deselected. And a lot of times if you see me press A and everything lights up, I'm just trying to make sure that there's nothing selected. If you hit A and something selected, it'll deselect everything. You hit A again, it'll select everything. So a good way to know that nothing is selected is just to see this light up and then press A to deselect. Okay, what we're going to do, we'll stay with face select on. We're going to hit C, and we're going to select all these faces right here. I'm going to right click to get out of there. Okay, so now I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and just turn so I can see a decent front view there. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Z axis and then hit 0. And what this does is just a very easy way to get flat geometry. And again, what we did, we hit S to scale on the Z axis and then 0, and it just automatically flattens out because the Z axis is up and down in Blender. So the cool thing for you to remember. Anyway, now that we have that flattened out, now what we're going to do is we're going to hit W to bring up our specials menu. We're then going to go to loop tools. You'll see this option as long as you did what I showed you in the beginning, where we went to add-ons and you put a check mark next to loop tools. If you don't see this, it's probably because you have to go back to File, User Preferences, Add-ons. You just have to make sure you have a check mark next to loop tools. Okay, so with this specials menu open and with our cursor over loop tools, we can see our options right here. What we want to do is we want to press circle. If by some chance your loop tool doesn't give you a circle, or you don't want to do the loop tools, it's not absolutely necessary to use that circle. You can actually take these vertices manually yourself and just make them circular. However, it's a lot more simple just to use loop tools and go to the circle option. Okay, with these faces selected, we're going to hit Q. We're going to go back to front view. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel just to zoom out. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button just to position it away from my screencast keys actually. I'm then going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. And if it's wobbly, you can hit Z again, and you can see that blue line right there. That blue line is showing you the preview line for how you're going to extrude. So you want to take this about like that. Okay, one of the reasons this tutorial popped up, I have another tutorial showing you how to do a female head. I like this. The one I'm going to show you here I like a lot better than the previous one, and I guess that makes sense since I've gotten more skilled as I went along. Still working, trying to get better all the time. But how this came up is I had a female body tutorial, and then I had a tutorial on doing a head, but I didn't have them together. And it is, I will admit it is, to me personally, it's very annoying to me to combine a head mesh with a body mesh. So I actually prefer to just make the head and the mesh, the body mesh all together, and then work on it from there. So that's kind of how this tutorial came about. Anyway, I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. So we're going to come down to about here. Then we're going to hit E to extrude on the Z-axis yet again. We're going to come down to about here. And basically what's going on here is this is kind of going to be along the area above the chest line. The arms are eventually going to come out of here. This is going to be where the chest is at. And this line right here is eventually going to be where the waist is at. Okay, and before we go further here, what we're going to want to do is hit A to deselect everything. We're then going to hit Z so we can go to a wireframe mode. We're going to make sure we're on face select. We're then going to hit B for box select. You want to position your cursor right about here. Hit B, and you're just going to come and grab this whole half of the mesh. If you grab an extra piece right there, you can hit. We'll just hit A, then we'll hit B. If you did like me and grabbed an extra piece, and you just want exactly this half right here. And now with face select on, you want to make sure that you have your mouse over your 3D viewport, because your shortcut keys are dependent on where your mouse is, or on what your mouse is over. So if your mouse over your 3D viewport, you want to select X to bring up your delete menu. Then you're going to select faces to delete these faces. And if you look right here, here's our 3D cursor, and our pivot point is exactly center. That's exactly what you want. If by some chance your 3D cursor is off, hit Shift C, it'll bring it right back to the center. And what we want to do now with just this entire half right here is I'm gonna hold my middle mouse button right here. This lets me scroll these panels over. You want to click this wrench, which is your modifier menu. You're going to select here, and you're going to select the mirror modifier. And what that does is that just puts another half, puts a kind of a virtual half on the other side of this mesh. And what that virtual half does basically is it allows you to do half of the amount of work that you normally would do. When you're dealing with humanoid shapes which are symmetrical, it just makes sense, and it's a beautiful tool, and it speeds up things a lot. So with this mirror modifier on here, what you want to do is go to the mirror modifier options. You want to click right here. This is clipping. This will just make it, it'll make sure that the this option will make sure that the model won't pull apart away from itself. Then you can click this little triangular looking button right here, and this just makes it look like that the virtual half of the modifier is actually fully on the model. I like it like that, and it seems easier to work with this option on for me. Okay, now with that done, what we're going to do is we're going to go to a vertice select. We're going to hit a B for box select. We're going to select all of these vertices right here. Then we're going to hit S to scale on the X-axis. And you see how as I scale this, see how they're starting to bunch up right there? That's fine, because with the mirror modifier on, what you can do is you can actually push in to make things a little bit smaller. So it's like if you start seeing it bunch up as you hit S to, after you press S to scale on the X-axis, you can just go back and forth between that, and then just using your manipulator right here to get the scale that you want. Also, just be careful with the mirror modifier on. One of the things you want to watch out for is you don't want vertices to cross over each other, because the mirror on here, it'll cause issues. So just try to keep them from crossing the vertices I'm talking about. Okay, with these vertices still selected, we're going to pull up just a little, looking a little bit long there because our waist is going to be right here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to press Q, and then we're going to go to right view, and we're going to hit A to deselect those vertices right there. You're going to hold Control and your right mouse button, and this allows you to do a lasso select. So you're going to grab all around here for the neck. See how I got these vertices here also, and you're just going to drag this back about like that. Okay, I'm just going to hold Shift and my middle mouse button to pan to the side here so you can see a little bit better. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select A to deselect there. I'm going to go to vertice select. I'm going to hit B to select these vertices right here. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Y-axis, just like that. And I'm just going to push this up like this. I'm now going to hit A to deselect there. I'm going to hold Alt with the vertices selected on. I'm going to select right here. By holding Alt, it allows me to select this entire loop right here. So I'm then going to hit S to scale on the y-axis, and I'm just going to push this over like that. Let me hit S to scale on the y-axis a little bit more, about like that. If you hear strange noises behind me, that's my Labrador laying on his back looking quite ridiculous. Anyway, okay, so now that we have that, now what we're going to do is we're going to hit A to deselect. We're going to press Q to see our views again. We're going to select front. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit B for box select, and we're going to select this whole bottom row right here. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom back. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. I'm going to hit Z again. Now you can see the preview line, so that's how you know I'm going on that Z axis. I'm going to left click to lock in. I'm going to hit S to scale on the X axis and bring this about like here. I'm trying to get it a little bit past right here, so S to scale on the X axis, about like that. I'm actually going to pull out just to spread that out right there, those vertices. Okay, now we're going to hold the middle mouse button and turn to the side. And usually when you're modeling, you've got to often look from front to side to see what's going on. So what we want to do now is we're going to hit S to scale on the y-axis. We can see our preview line right there. We're going to take this out about like that. Draw it back some. I'm going to hit Q so you can see. I'm going to select right. You don't want this to be forward like this. You kind of want everything to be, for the most part, right along behind this line right here. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button just to take a look at that. Okay, so now with that, I'm going to hit S to scale on the Y to bring it out a little teeny bit more. And hit Q, then right. I can see that's getting in the way a little bit. Okay, now what we want to do is we're going to press R to rotate on the X axis. And we're going to take it about like this. Let me just take the manipulator and push forward a little bit, maybe R to rotate on the X axis a little bit more, like that. Now we're going to hit Z to go into from wire to solid. We're going to hold our middle mouse button, turn and rotate. We're going to go to face select. We're going to select these 4 faces right here. I roll in so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to hold shift and middle mouse button to pan. And what we're going to do right here is we're going to hit E to extrude, and we're just going to let this come right down the extrusion line, no axis there, to about there. Then we're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis. You see how when I scale on the Y it turns up? That's fine. We're just going to hit R to rotate on the X axis to turn it back how we want. Then we're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis again. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button just to take a look at this. Okay, now what we want to do is take this manipulator and push in some, not too much. Don't have your vertices cross over each other. So let me move so you can see a general shape like there. Now what you're going to do is you're going to I'm holding my middle mouse button turned to the side. You're then going to press Control R to put a loop cut in. You can see my loop cut preview right there. I'm going to left click to lock in, left click it again to lock in all the way. Now with this loop selected, what you're going to do is press S to scale on the Y axis, not too much, about like that. Okay, and now you're going to go to face select. You're going to hold shift and you're going to select all of these faces right here, and you're going to press X to bring up your delete menu. You're going to press X to bring up your delete menu. Then you're going to choose faces. And I'm just taking a look at it while holding my middle mouse button. Okay, now what you're going to do is go back to vertices select. You're going to hold shift. You're going to select these 3 vertices right here. Just holding the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to press E to extrude. I'm going to take it out about like that. I'm then going to select this vertex here. I'm going to hold shift and I'm going to select this vertex here. I'm still holding shift. I'm selecting here and here. So I selected all those 4 vertices while holding shift, and the mirror modifier is making it select on the other side. I'm now going to hit F to fill in between those vertices. We're going to turn to the back and do the same thing. So we're just going to select here, hold shift, select the 4 vertices and press F to fill in. And now what you're going to do is hold your middle mouse button, turn to the front. You're then going to hold Alt and you're going to select right here with your vertices select on. And what you're going to do is you're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. You're going to pull straight down, not too far, about like that. Bring it out to the side a little bit. See, let's bring it out a little bit more. And see how we have this, you know, kind of like slightly, not too hard, but it's slightly hard to control. We're going to hit S to scale on the Z axis 0 to give us some flattened out geometry on the bottom there. We're then going to hit W, go to our loop tools, W to bring up our specials menu, then our loop tools, and choose a circle. We'll just pull this out to the side some. And again, if you have a problem with the loop tools, you can always make this circular yourself manually just by manipulating the vertices. The loop tools is just a quicker way to do it. Now what you're going to do is just hold your middle mouse button, turn to the side, and you're going to take your manipulator and just push this forward about like that. Kind of pushing it forward basically about as far as this line here. I'm just going to hold my middle mouse button, turn to the side again. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. And then I'm going to hit S to scale on the X axis. Pull this out to the side a little bit like that. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and look to the back. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Y axis just very slightly. And now we're going to hold the middle mouse button, turn back to the front. Just rolling my mouse wheel to zoom back some. We're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis just to come down a little bit more. We're going to hit S to scale on the X axis. Pull out to the side a little bit. We're going to hold the mouse button, hold the middle mouse wheel to turn to the side. We're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis. Pull it back just slightly. Turn to the front again. We're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. About like that. Push to the side just a little. Hit S to scale on the X axis. Little. Hold the middle mouse button to turn to the back yet again. We're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis. And we're going to hold the middle mouse button and turn to the front again. This will be the knee part that's coming out here now. So we're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. And whenever you make your knees, pretty much remember that bottom part of the knee, you want it to go back. You want to pull back, not too extreme, but you definitely want it going back because it'll look, won't look right if you have it either going straight down or not going back. Okay, we're going to take a manipulator and push down just a little bit further. Take it out just a slight bit to the side. Now we're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. About that far down. We're going to hit S to scale on the X axis. About like that. Pull out to the side just a little. I'm going to hold the shift and the middle mouse button to pan up. I'm going to look to the side, and you can see you need to look front to side. So we'll hit S to scale on the Y axis. And you just remember this line. We don't want anything going past that line, so you'll just pull this back some, like that. We'll hold the middle mouse button, turn back to the front. Okay, now we'll hit E to extrude on the Z axis. We'll hit S to scale on the X axis to bring this in some. Hold the middle mouse button, look to the back. We'll hit S to scale on the Y axis. Like that. Hold the middle mouse button, turn back to the front. I'm going to hit S to scale on the X axis just a little bit more. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis to bring it down about like that. I'm going to hit S to scale on the X axis. Bring it in like this. Zoom in so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan up. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, turn to the side, and I'm going to hit S to scale on the Y axis to bring this in some, and more anyway. Holding the middle mouse button to turn back to the front. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to do 4 little extrusions to form the foot. So we're going to press E to extrude on the Z axis, about like that. E to extrude on the Z axis, about like that. E to extrude on the Z axis, about like that. And one more time, E to extrude on the Z axis, about half as much as before. Left click to lock in. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to hold our mouse button. We're going to look at the bottom here. We're going to press Control F to bring up our faces menu. We're going to select grid fill, and this gives us a little bit more geometry than a regular fill. We're going to hold our mouse button, turn like this. I'm going to roll in. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan up. We're going to grab these faces right here. We're going to go to Face Select. We're going to select here. We're going to hold Shift and select these faces here. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button just to turn to the side to get a better look. And now we're just going to extrude out no axis. So we're going to hit E. There's our preview line. We're just going to ride out right along the way that the direction that the normals are going. We're going to hit E. Again, no axis. Just ride this out. And we're going to hit E one more time. And there we go. Okay, now we're going to hit A to deselect there. We're going to hold our middle mouse button to turn to the side. And we're going to hit Z. Let me click out of here and move this down some. We're going to hit, whoops. We're going to hit Z to make sure we're in wireframe. If you weren't, we're then going to hit a B for box select. We're going to grab all of these faces right here. So you're, see how I have my box right over those faces, but not over the top ones? Up, and it didn't do what I wanted to do. Let me hit A to deselect. I'm going to hit B for box select. There you go. You want to grab these faces right here, but not those top faces right there. And actually, let me do something so that we don't have problems. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Edge Select. I'm actually going to hit A to deselect there. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to select. Let me hit Z. Go to Solid. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to select this. You know what? Let me select these two right here. So I have these two edges selected right there. The only reason why I selected them was so I could do this. Hit Shift S to bring up my Snap to menu, then Cursor to selected. Put my cursor right there, which is where I want, right? I'm now going to turn this. This is our pivot point right here. Blender's default pivot point is the medium point. I'm going to turn this to the 3D cursor. And what that means is that everything will now pivot off of this 3D cursor. We're just going to do this temporarily. And the reason why we're doing this is so that I can hit Z, go to wireframe, hit A to deselect. I'm going to hold Control and the right mouse button and grab this entire part of the foot right here. I'm now going to hold the middle mouse button and turn. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to hit, actually we're going to hit O to turn on our proportional edit. We'll hit G to see where it's at, so that's fine. I'm going to right click to get out of there. I just hit G just so I can see where that circle was at. Now I'm going to hit R to rotate on the Z-axis, and I'm doing this just so I can turn the feet so that they're facing forward. So let me hit R to rotate on the Z-axis a little bit more. And that looks good. Okay, so now we're going to hit A to deselect. We're going to do what we did before. So I'm holding my middle mouse button to aim this down here just so I can get a nice clear view. With face select on, so make sure you're on face select. Turn off the proportional edit, which is this right here. You can actually click here and enable this or disable it. I prefer to just choose O, which turns on. So I'll hit O and you'll see it went out right there. Anyway, what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to hit B for box select, grab this whole part right here, and just like the first time I messed it up. Let me try it again. There we go. Okay, so now I have that selected, and hopefully you do as well. So with that selected, what we're going to do now is hit S to scale on the X-axis. And see, that's why we turned it to the front, so we could actually scale on that X-axis. If we tried to scale before, it would give us a diagonal X-axis. So we're going to take it a little teeny bit wider. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit Z and then go to solid, right? Going to click here and turn this back to medium point so we're not, mixed up there. I'm going to go to edge select and select this one edge here, pull it over. Just to actually see how that edge is just moving by itself. This is where the proportional edit tool is useful. Let me zoom in so you can see this. So I want to straighten this up some, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the proportional edit. I hit G just to see where it's at, so it's too big. So I want it just to affect around here. So now I right click to lock in. I'm going to hit G again, and then on the X axis. See how now if I want everything to move, I can just scroll that proportional edit up. I'm going to hit G and X. Okay, so what we're going to do now is with the edge select on, we're just going to select these edges right here. We're going to hit G. We want that proportional edit still on. We're just going to push forward some like that. We're going to go to the back. Grab these lines right here. Pull them out just slightly. Now we're going to select right here. We're going to hit G and then Y. We're going to pull back something like that. And grab this one vertex here and pull this back. Okay, now with that, with that done, we're going to go to here, face select here. Okay, and then we're going to select right here. I'm going to zoom in, hold shift and the middle mouse button so you can see. Rolling in a little bit more. I'm going to hold shift and select these faces here. I'm going to hit G. You can see my area of influence there, so I'm going to push down like this. And I'm rolling the mouse wheel to control that area of influence. It's helped me maneuver the geometry. It's about like that. I'm actually going to grab the edges right here. Whoops. Didn't want that. I'm going to hit Z, solid. I'm going to press shift. I'm going to hit G and roll this down. I'm going to hit, wrong again. Right, I'm going to hit G and then Z. Pull this up just slightly. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab these right here. I'm going to see how this manipulator sometimes gets in your way. If you hit Control Space and just click here, you'll take that away. I'm going to hold Shift. I'm going to hit Control Space to bring that back. Then I'm going to hit G, then X. Pull that out some there. A little bit more. Same thing to this side right here. G, then X to pull that out to the side a little bit there. G, then X to move on the X-axis. I'm hitting G moves, and then X is the X-axis. That's what's going on there. Okay, so now I'm grabbing these two faces right here. I'm going to hit G to move, and then on the X-axis to pull in there, something like that. I'm going to grab these two edges right here. I might have said faces before I meant edges. I'm going to hit G, then X right here. I think I'll grab these here, pull them out something like that. Okay. Okay, now we're going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan down. I rolled the middle mouse button to zoom out, I should say. I'm rolling it just to look front. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to roll with the middle mouse button to zoom in. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm looking right here and I'm going to press Control R to put a loop cut there. And this is we're setting up for our shoulders and our arms. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to select these four faces. Want the ones right to the side. So these four faces right here is what we want. And what we're going to do is hit E to extrude on the X-axis to bring these out a little bit. We're going to push this up slightly. I'm going to hit O. See this blues on here. This thing works great, but it can cause problems if it can do unexpected things if you don't realize that it's on. So we're going to hit O to turn that off. You can see the blue went out, so it's off. Okay, and now we're going to hit S to scale on the Z axis. Now we're going to hit we're actually going to hit S to scale on the X axis 0 to flatten that out. With S to scale on the Z axis a little bit more like that. S to scale on the Z axis a little bit more. Then we're going to hit E to extrude on the X axis. With S to scale on the Z axis to bring it down some like this. And now what we're going to do is we're going to hit W, go to Loop Tools, and put Circle. Okay, so now we're going to hit S to scale this down some. Holding the middle mouse button to turn, I'm going to hit E to extrude on the X axis. Bring this out to about here. I'm going to hit S to scale that down a little bit more. I'm going to hit look to the side, looks alright. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the X-axis to bring this out like that. Okay, now we're going to hit E to extrude on the X-axis about here. We hit S to scale that down some. And then now we're going to hit E to extrude on the X-axis. Little extrusion right there. We're going to hit E to extrude on the X-axis again, like that. We'll hit S to scale on the Y-axis. You can see a preview line there, like that. Then we'll hit E to extrude on the X-axis, like that. E to extrude on the X-axis, kind of like a square shape basically there. And with E to extrude on the X-axis, take it about halfway, like that. Okay, so basically what's going on here is this will be like the bicep, tricep area right here. This is the elbow, this is the forearm, this is the hand forming here, here's the wrist. So what we want to basically do here is get the basic shape. So I wanted to go for the basic length. Even the length can be changed later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Control R to put loop cut right there. I'm going to hit S to scale, just so it looks like there's a little bit of, not too much, muscle there. I held Alt and with edge select on, I selected here, let me select the whole loop cut there. So I'm hitting S to scale, and not just because I wanted this to come in a little bit, go out a little bit so that you can see the muscle, and then come in a little bit here. I'm going to do the same thing here, except with this, the form, I'm not going to do it right in the center. I'm going to do Control R, put a loop cut here. Then I'm going to hit S to scale. And not too much, but just so it looks like there's some muscle in there and it's not just a bone popping out. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and form the hand. So the thumb is actually going to come out here. So what we're going to do is we're going to, let me move this to the side a little bit. I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to select right here. I'm going to hit E to extrude. Just let it come right out on that extrude axis. I'm going to hit S to scale down a little bit. I'm going to hit E to extrude again. E to extrude to put a joint there. E to extrude again. I'm going to hit S to scale just to scale that down just a little bit. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to select these faces here. I'm just going to hold shift and select all of these faces here. Then I'm going to hit X to bring up the delete menu, and I'm going to choose faces to delete those faces we just selected. And now what we're going to do is we are going to hold our middle mouse button, look at the top of this. I'm going to go to vertice select. We're going to hit K to bring up our knife tool, and what we're going to do is just click here one time, drag the knife, click here, then here, and then here. I learned this hand a long time ago from Jonathan Williamson, even before Blendswap, I think was the tutorial, but still my favorite way to do hands. Anyway, with this selected, we're going to hit the knife. We're going to hit A to deselect. We're going to hit K to bring up the knife again. We're just going to go right to this vertice here, left click to lock in, hit enter. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hit K to select that vertice right there. Connected to that vertice right there, left click to lock in. Then I'm hitting enter to totally lock it in. Now we're going to go to the bottom part of the hand. So the top part of this hand, what it is you see these four faces, so you're cutting through four faces for the top part. For the bottom part, we're going to cut through 6 faces. So what I'm going to do is hit A to deselect. I'll hit A to select everything. A to deselect. I just do that to make sure I'm totally deselected from everything. I'm going to hit K. I'm going to click here one time. Just drag this all the way down to here. Drag over to here. Left click and drag all the way here. Left click, and then to finish it off, what you have to do is you have to press enter. And now we have our cuts in there. Now we're set up to make some fingers. So now what we're going to do is hold our middle mouse button. And as we're doing this, what we want to do is we want to try to have everything be quads. So we're selecting this, we're in vertice select, we're selecting this vertice here, we're going to hold shift, select this vertice and this vertice, so we have 4 vertices selected. We're going to press F to bring up, to fill in between those vertices. Now we're going to leave this here, because later on we're going to cut across here, and that will allow this space here to be a quad also instead of a triangle. Anyway, we're just gonna move over, and I'm holding shift. I'm just selecting these vertices. So I selected 4 vertices while holding shift. I'm gonna hit F to fill. I'm just gonna keep repeating this process. Let me zoom in so you can see better. I'm gonna hold shift and middle mouse button. So I'm holding shift. I'm selecting here, here, and here. F to fill. I'm gonna do it one more time. So 1, 2, 3, 4. F to fill. And now what I'm going to do is, because I don't want this to be a triangle, I still want this to be a quad, I'm going to hit the Control R to put a loop cut in. I'm going to drag this loop cut down a little bit. Here, left click again to lock in, and now I can have my quad here. Strange looking as it may be, but I'm going to hit Control Space to temporarily take away my manipulator. So I'm just selecting these 4. I'm hitting F to fill in there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is this next thing I want to show you, I think is pretty cool actually. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit C. I'm going to go to face select actually. I'm going to grab all this. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit O to turn on our proportional edit tool. As soon as I push O, you'll see this light up blue. There it goes. The proportional edit tool is on. So now I'm going to hold the middle mouse button, turn to the side a little bit. I'm going to hit G so you can see our area of influence. Then I'm going to hit S to scale on the Z axis. And I'm scrolling down, or I'm moving my mouse wheel to affect my scale and the area of influence. And moving the mouse wheel to move the scale. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel so the area of influence affects the other parts of the hand. So I left click then to lock it in. Now this here I think is pretty cool. Actually came up with this a while ago. I was kind of excited to show it because let me hit O to turn off the proportional edit tool. Actually, let me rearrange the distance here. I'm going to hit Control Space. Bring up our manipulator. I'm just going to pull this to the side just a little. I'm just giving more space for this one finger. I have 2 other tutorials dealing with making simple humanoid shapes, or humanoid meshes, I guess you would say. One is a simple male, one is a simple female. And what I did before when I made fingers was I got to this part, it took one finger, extruded out, you know, did the work on it, shaped a little bit, went to the next finger, extruded it out, you know, did the work on it, next finger, extruded the work out. Or extruded out, did the work, next finger, extruded out. We're not going to do that here now, and it's because of this technique that is pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to face select, we're going to select here. We're going to select all these fingers basically, the base right here. Okay, actually let me grab this vertex right here. I'm going to hit R to rotate on the Z axis very slightly, extremely slightly. I'm going to select this right here, R to rotate on the Z axis, move extremely slightly. Just rotating it very slightly. And now what we're going to do is we're going to select here, hold shift, select all of these 4 faces. The thing that's going to allow us to not have to go through all the work of extruding all of those different faces is we're going to press Alt E, which brings up our extrude faces menu. Then we're going to choose individual faces. So we're going to left click one time, then we're going to left click again. We didn't want to push, pull, or anything. If you did pull, just right click and you should be right at this point. And basically these faces are set up to be extruded all at the same time, and you know, by extruding them all at the same time, we'll be able to save ourselves from doing, you know, a little bit more, from doing some slightly tedious work. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go to our pivot point. We're going to change this to individual origins. So I'm going to hold my middle mouse button just so we can get a more of a 3D view. What we're going to do is hit E to extrude, and we're going to actually just come out just to the individual joint right there. Now we're going to hit S to scale and see what's happening, because we did that Alt E for extrude individual faces, and then we did the pivot point individual origins. That allowed us to scale down. So now you see we have the beginning of all of these different fingers here, which is pretty cool. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Z-axis just slightly. And now we're going to do is extrude. You know, they're all selected, so we're able to go E to extrude, bring these out like this. And then hit E to extrude again. Bring them out like that. We'll hit S to scale them down a little bit more. E to extrude again. E to extrude again for a joint. And E to extrude one more time. And we'll hit S to scale. And you know, there we go. You know, we got all of our fingers at the same time. I really like the technique. You know, as for the basic shape, you know, the main thing that I try to do when I'm forming a basic shape is to get that basic shape, and then we can come back and refine it later. But yeah, I really like the fact that we can, you know, compare it. Like I said, if you go back and see my other tutorials, I probably would just be starting this finger now and working. Anyway, I think it's cool. Let me not dwell on it, but hopefully that you guys will like and appreciate that. Okay, so now we're just going to come in. I'm going to select this vertice right here, or actually these two. I'm rolling in. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to roll with the mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm going to hold shift to grab right there, hit O to turn on the proportional edit. I roll back a little bit with the mouse wheel. I'm going to hit G. Whoops. Yeah, G. My proportional edit is probably so big I couldn't see it. Then I'm going to hit X, and I'm just going to push this. Whoops, wrong thing. Y. Push this in a little bit. Same thing on this side. I'm going to hold shift to the middle mouse button to pan. Hold shift to grab that vertex. I'm going to press G, and then Y. Push this in a little. Grab here, push these in a little bit. I'll hold G, then Y. This one can come out a little bit. Down here, the same thing. I'm going to grab these vertices here. I'm going to hit G to move on the Z-axis. Grab here, hit G to move on the Z-axis again. I'll roll my mouse wheel, get some influence, and it's looking pretty good. You can always come back and refine more later on. And again, just a basic shape. We just want the basic shape here, and then we'll come back and we'll refine this. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to roll in. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to look at the side of the head. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Edge Select. We're going to turn off this proportional edit by pressing O over our 3D viewport. We're going to hold Alt, and we're going to select this whole line right here. We're going to push this down about like that. Over here, I'm going to grab this line and push this up some. I'm going to press R to rotate. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these faces here. I'm going to hit E to extrude. I'm going to hit S to scale in. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Y axis. Push this here. Up some. I'm going to go to Edge Select. I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to pull this up some. I'm going to reshape this right here. More of a square. Now the face select. Select these four faces here. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the X axis. And then I'm going to hit S to scale. And push this up a little bit. I think I'll hit R to rotate on the, wait a second, the Y axis. And I'm going to hit W, go to Loop Tools. W to bring up our Specials menu, go to Loop Tools and select Circle. Okay, now I'm going to press R to rotate and rotate just slightly this way. I'm now going to go to vertices, select. I'm going to zoom in. And what I'm going to do is select this vertex here. I'm going to hold shift, select this vertex here. I'm going to press Alt M. And then I'm going to choose at last. This brings the Alt M up our merge menu. I'm going to choose I'm going to choose at last. I'm going to select this vertex here, holding the middle mouse button just to turn so I can see. I'm going to wait a second. Here. And there, yeah, those two vertices there. I'm going to press Alt M at last. I'm going to select this vertex here. I'm going to hold shift and select this vertex here. I'm going to choose Alt M to bring up our merge menu. Choose at last. I'm going to grab these vertices here and drag them out a little bit. Push this down a little bit. And now I'm going to go to face select these faces here while holding shift, holding the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to hit E to extrude. I'm going to left click to lock in. Then I'm going to hit S to scale in like that. I'm going to hit E to extrude, go right along the extrusion line, hit S to scale in like that. I'm going to go to vertices, select, push this in here. I'm going to hit O to turn on the proportional edit tool. I'm actually going to hit Alt O, turns on a special kind of proportional edit tool. You see how this is like a donut kind of here? Alt O basically is connected proportional edit. So I have this dot selected here. So even though I'm close to here, it should only deal with the things, the vertices that are connected to this vertex and not affect the vertices there. So I'm going to hit G so I can see what's going on there. I'm going to hit X to bring this in. And grab these vertices here. I'm going to hit G and then X to pull these out some, not too much. Push this in slightly. I'm going to hit O to turn off that proportional edit tool. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to press Control R to put a loop cut right here. We're going to pull this up some, about around here. Left click to lock in, holding the middle mouse button just to take a look. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure this proportional edit tool is off. You can see with the blue there, it still on. I'm going to move my 3D cursor over to 3D viewport. I'm going to hit O to turn that off. I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to select right here, and I'm going to hold shift and select right here. I'm going to hit E to extrude, left click to lock in. So I did not push pull or anything after I extruded. I just extruded just to create new geometry. I could have done this also by inset. I prefer to do it by extrude just because that's what I'm used to. Anyway, I'm going to hit S to scale it down like this. Then I'm going to push in here like this. About like that. I'm going to roll in. And now I'm going to go to vertices, select. I'm going to select this vertex here and this vertex. I'm going to pull this up like this. Straightening these out some. Now I'm going to select these. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Y axis 0 just to flatten that out. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to, with face select still on, we're going to select here, here, and here. I just selected each one of those while holding shift. We're then going to hit E to create new geometry, left click to lock in, hit S to scale. About like that. I'm going to go to vertices select. We're going to select this vertex, push this down some. Take this vertex, push this up some. Same thing for this vertex here, push this down some. And push this vertex up some. Push this one up a little. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to select face select. We're going to select here, hold shift, select all of these faces here. And we're just going to take a manipulator and just push out just slightly. Okay, then we're gonna hit A to deselect. We're gonna press Control R to put in 2 loop cuts here. Left click to lock in, left click again to totally lock in. Now we're going to go to vertice select. You're going to select this vertice here first, hold shift, select this vertice, then you're going to press Alt M and then choose Alt M brings our merge menu, then you're going to choose at last. You're going to select this vertice, hold shift, select this vertice, press Alt M, brings up merge again. You're going to choose at last. Now you're going to take this vertice right here, just pull this up slightly. You're then going to press Control R to put another loop cut in, just 1 loop cut. You're going to pull it into about here. We're now going to hit A to deselect that loop cut. We're going to press Control R. We're going to put another loop cut right here. Left click to lock in. Then grab this vertice right here and just pull this back just a little. Small adjustments to these. Sometimes it's hard. I got to tell myself I'm doing a tutorial so I don't get caught up in just pushing and pulling vertices. Okay, what you're going to do now is you're going to go to face select, select here, hold shift. You're going to select all of these faces here. You're going to press E to extrude on the Y axis. You can see there's our green preview line showing where we're going to go, and you're going to take out just very slightly forward. See that? Extremely slightly, not a big push. Okay, now you're going to grab right here and you're going to push forward some, about like that. You're going to go to edge select, grab right here, push forward some, about like that. You're going to go back to face select. We're going to hit S to scale on the Z axis just slightly. And then going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis, just a little teeny bit out. Then hit S to scale. Push this up just slightly. Now we're going to go to edge select. We're going to select right here. Push this down slightly. We're going to go to face select. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button just so we can turn the view. We're going to select here, hold shift. Whoops. Yeah, select there, hold shift, hold control. You're going to unclick the clipping. The reason why we're unclicking the clipping is because we're about to extrude and then scale down. If the clipping was on, this line wouldn't separate. So when we unclick clipping, which we're going to do temporarily, it'll allow this to scale and separate that line right there, which is what we want. So we're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. We just created new geometry so we can form these nostrils. Now we're going to hit S to scale. Like that. Now that we're scaled down, we're going to turn this clipping back on so we don't forget. We're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis. Like that. Now we're going to press E to extrude on the Z axis. It's wobbly like mine. Just hit Z again. You can see the preview line showing where we're going to go. Just holding my middle mouse button to make sure it wasn't popping out the top. Then we're going to hit S to scale. Might push this down a little bit. Just holding the mouse wheel, taking a look at it. Now what we're going to do is with face select on, we're going to select here. We're going to hold shift. We're going to select here. We're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. We just did that again to create new geometry. We're going to hit S to scale, scale this down some. Take my manipulator and push this up some. I'm going to hit S to scale on the Y axis. Push it up just slightly. Now we're going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis. You can see there's a preview line showing us how we're going to go in. Take it in about this far. And what we're doing right here is we're going to press E to extrude right here. Left click to lock in. Now the reason why we did this is so we can have a lip. We press E to extrude so that when we scale now, instead of this line scaling with the mouth, it's going to scale past the mouth. So you'll see that now. So I'm going to hit S to scale. And it's just like we just scaled right past that line. So anyway, we're going to hit E to extrude again on the Y axis. There's a preview line. We're going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis again. And what I'm doing is I'm looking on the side to see if this inside part of the mouth is popping out here, which it isn't. If it does, it's fine. You just hit S to scale and scale it in. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to hit A to deselect there. With face select still 1, we're going to hold Alt. We're going to select right here. Just trying to make sure you can see. Get a good view, 3D-like view of what we're about to do. So we're going to hit E to extrude on the Y-axis, just slightly. And now what you're going to do is hit S to scale in. Now you're just going to push this straight out like that. And now we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to go to our edge select. We're going to hold Alt. We're going to select this outer edge. We're going to hit S to scale up some. As funny as that looks right there. We're going to press Alt and select this inline here, inside line there. We're going to hit S to scale and scale this down some. And I'm going to press Alt and select here. We're going to hit S to scale, scale this up some. Here I'm just going to grab this edge right here and push this out some here. Grab this edge, push this out some here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to press Control R and put a loop cut right here. And we're going to grab this edge right here, push this up, and push this out some. Grab this edge right here. Try to get a better view for you to see. We're going to push this down, push this out some here. We're now going to zoom back. Let me zoom back so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hit Control R to put a loop cut right here. And what I'm going to do right here, I'm actually going to press Alt O to turn on our connected proportional edit. I'm going to select right here and here. I'm going to hit G so I can see the area of influence. I'm going to roll that down. Now I'm going to hit X to take that out some to the side. And now we're going to go to vertices select. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn to the side. I'm going to hold shift and select here and here and here. Just hold my middle mouse button to turn to the side, and I'm going to press G and then Y. Go straight back. This. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to press A to deselect. We're going to go back to face select. We're going to select, whoops, these faces here. We're going to hold shift. Select all of these faces here. Zoom in. Zooming in by rolling my mouse wheel. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Hold the middle mouse button, turn to the side a little bit. I'm going to press E to extrude on the Y axis. Go in about that far. I'm going to hit X to bring up the delete menu, and I'm going to choose to delete the faces. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to change this back to medium point so that doesn't confuse us later on. We're then going to go to edge select. We're going to hold Alt, select this edge right here. The only reason why we selected that edge right there was so we could press Shift S to activate our snap menu. We're going to choose cursor to selected. Because we selected all this, the cursor goes right to the center, which is exactly what we want. This entire time we've been inside of the object mode of this, one cube that we're in here. What we're about to do is we're going to add some eyeballs to this mesh. So to do that, we're going to click here, go into object mode. You can also go into object mode by tab. I just chose to go in object mode that time. With this cursor right here, Blender, new objects come to where your 3D cursor is at. So what we want to do now is we can either press Shift A, which will bring up this menu to create things, or we can go right to here, which is also another create menu. And we're just going to select UV sphere. When we bring this UV sphere, you don't want to click anything or do anything until you deal with this Add UV sphere menu all the way over to the bottom left. And what we want for these segments, we want to change these segments from 32 to 12. We're going to change these rings from 16 to 12. You want to do that before you do anything else, because if you tend to move this, you can lose the menus. I mean, you can lose the UV sphere menu. So what we're going to do now that we have our segments to 12 and our rings to 12 is we're going to hit tab to go into edit mode. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to hit turn off your proportional edit. Tools, you're going to press O and then O again to make sure that proportional edit's off. We're going to hit S to scale this down. Push it back some. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to press on your number keypad. If you look next to the number lock, if you press right above the 8 on the number keypad, there's the backslash key. And this is takes you into local mode. Another way that you can get into local mode is you can click here to navigate. You can come up to here where it says View Global Local, and we'll just click right there, and you can see we're now in local mode. And what local mode is it is just a mode that allows you to focus directly on one object. So the rest of the head and the body are here, but this mode hides them so that we're able to just focus in on this object. So it's very useful. If you ever save a file by accident in local mode, you can just look right here and it'll let you know where, whether you're in local mode or global mode. So now that we're in local mode, what you're going to do is you're going to press you can press either 1 on your number. Blender's giving us so many options now for views. It's amazing. You can press 1 on your number keypad, which will take you into front ortho, or you can press here this navigation front here, or you can press Q, and go here. So it's just very cool. So we're just going to press front here or Q, however you want to get in there. We want to be in front ortho mode, right? With this sphere selected, what we're going to do now is we're going to press Shift D. I'm just going to pull to the side, not push, or not click anything. The reason why I do this is just to make sure that I know that this is duplicated. Then I right click and it snaps right back. So that duplicated sphere is the one that's selected. It's just currently over the original sphere, right? So what you want to do with that sphere selected is you want to press S to scale 0.94. Then left click to lock in. And basically what we just did was that sphere that we duplicated, pulled to the side, that was over this, we just shrunk that by pressing S to scale 0.94, we shrunk that sphere to 94% of its size. So because we did that, it's now inside of this sphere, but it still should be selected. So because it's still selected, even though we can't see it, we're going to press R to rotate on the X-axis 90, and then left click to lock in. Now that sphere should be turned in the way that we want it to be turned, and it's still selected. So we want to deselect it. So we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to press A to select everything, and then A to select everything again, just to make sure that it's absolutely not selected. Okay, now what we want to do is we're going to press we're going to go to face select. We're going to press C for paint select. We want to select this entire bottom part of this sphere. We're going to right click to get out of paint select. We're going to hit X to bring up the delete menu. We're going to choose faces to delete the faces, and here we can see that sphere that we shrunk down. So now I'm going to hold my middle mouse button, turn to the side. I'm going to press C for paint select again, and I'm just selecting the other parts of this, the original sphere that we couldn't see. So I'm just hitting C to paint select. Get out of paint select, you press right click. So there's right click. I'm now going to hit X to bring up the delete menu, choose faces. Okay, and let me make sure front. Okay, so there's the front right there. See how the 3D cursor's right here? That's what we want. Let's push right here. So we're in right ortho. Remember, you can always look right here if you are confused, because sometimes you can actually be looking in the back and think you're looking at the front, but this will tell you where you're at. Our 3D cursor is right in the center here. This is exactly how we want it. If it's not there, you can click and get an approximation to get your 3D. You basically want your 3D cursor right here. So if your 3D cursor is out here, you can right click here and it'll come back. What you want to do now with that 3D cursor there is you want to click here. We're on our Blender's default pivot point. We want to change this to 3D cursor so that this will pivot on that 3D cursor. So what we're going to do now is with face select on, we're going to select here. We're going to press Control L. Control L is a nice little technique in Blender. If you select a face and hit Control L, your entire separated part of an object is selected. So what we're going to do with that 3D pivot point there is we're just going to hit R to rotate. Because we're in ortho, we don't need to worry about an axis. We'll just rotate it like this. And now you'll see that when we turn around to the front, this basically what we're forming here is our eyelid. Our eyelid is very thin here. Okay, the way we're going to deal with this thin eyelid is we're going to select this edge right here, or edge, not select it, select edge select. We're going to press A to deselect. We're going to hold Alt. We're going to select this edge right here. Because we held Alt, it select the entire loop there. Now we're going to hit E to extrude. Left click to lock in. We just created new geometry by extruding and clicking in. We didn't push or pull or anything because we were making new geometry. The reason why we did that was so we could hit S to scale and then scale in like that. So basically what this did is this allowed us to have thickness, to have thickness on this eyelid rather than it looking paper thin. Later on, we're going to put a subdivision surface on this this eye. And one of the things that a subdivision surface does and is good for is it makes organic shapes look very smooth. One of the issues that pops up when dealing with subdivision surface is if you have edges, it tends to make edges look non-sharp. So we want this edge of this eyelid to look sharp. There's many ways of dealing with that issue. One of the ways is just adding a loop cut next to an edge. So what we're going to do now is we're going to press Control R. You can see our previewed line right there. We're going to left click once. Because we left click once, we're able to move our loop cuts. We're going to put it right there. Left click to lock in. We want this to be pretty sharp, so we're going to press Control R to put yet another loop cut in, which should make that edge look even sharper. So there it goes. Okay, now that we have the loop cuts on this eyelid so it'll be sharp, what we're going to do is we're going to click right, and we're going to go to face select this face right here. We're going to press Control L, then we're going to hit Shift D, pull this eyelid out, not click or anything. I'm just pulling it out just to make sure it's duplicated. I'm going to right click to make it jump back. We still have our 3D pivot on, so now I'm just going to hit R to rotate the eyelid like this. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button, just turn to the front, or not the front, but so we can get a view of the front. Now what we're going to do is hit A to deselect. We're going to hold our middle mouse button, turn to the side just a little bit more. We're going to hit C for paint select. We're going to select these two rings of faces, I guess you would see. So this ring and here. I'm going to right click to get out of there. I'm going to turn to the side. I'm going to take this pivot point from the 3D cursor to the medium point. If you don't take this from the 3D cursor back to this medium point, you're going to have issues for this next thing we're about to do. We're going to hit S to scale on the y-axis, -1. Left click to lock in. Love this technique. Learned this from David Ward a while ago, amongst many other things. Very cool looking eyes he taught me how to make. Anyway, I'm going to pull back right here. And you're just pulling back a little bit so it's like, above the rim. I tend to make things with the thought of animating them. Just like this stuff right here. Somebody might say, well, why not just delete that? Because most likely this will end up in an animation. I might even do a future tutorial on rigging this. So that's why you see this stuff right here. So that this eyelid will, if you want to or I want to, we could animate this model in the future. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to vertices select. I'm going to click here. I only click there to move this. See, like if I click here, right, you see this manipulator is in the way. If I click here, I can get it to, even though I don't want anything to do with this vertice, I click here just to get this out of the way sometimes. Where sometimes that's easier to hit control space. But anyway, I'm going to click here. Now I'm going to hit O to bring up the proportional edit tool. I'm going to hit G to see my area of influence, I'm going to roll this down. Then I'm going to hit Y and take that in, something like that. I'm going to hit Control R, put a loop cut right here because I want this to be a hard line right here. I'm going to press Control R right here. I'm going to hit Control R to put another loop cut right here because I want this to be hard. Now what we're going to do is we're going to we're already selected on the modifier panel. We're going to click here, and let me move this out of the way so you can see. We're going to go to subdivision surface, and now there's our subdivision surface. We're now going to hit A. To select all of this, we're going to hit Z, and then we're going to go to shade smooth. All right. With all of this, all that stuff done, now we're going to go here. Actually, we're going to go to view 1. We're going to turn this up to 2. And we're going to click this little triangle looking thing here. And there is our eye right there. And we're just taking a look at it. And actually, I want to do something else. I'm going to temporarily turn this off. So if you want to get rid of that smoothness, it's still on there. But this, by clicking this eye, you just hide the modifier. I'm actually going to click here, turn off this. I'm going to go here, hit C for paint select, select here. I'm going to hit E to extrude on the Y-axis. Take this in just slightly, just because I want that line to be even harder. I'm going to click this, and now we can see. Let me hit and now we can see it's a nice hard line right there for this eyeball. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to click here to go back into global view. And what we're going to do now that we're in global view is we're going to click here, go into object mode. We're going to click front, holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan, holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan again. Now I'm going to press shift C. And what that shift C did, I just rolled the mouse wheel to zoom in, shift and the middle mouse button to pan down. What it did, it put the 3D cursor directly in the center, which is what we want. We also want to click here and change this pivot point back to 3D cursor. And now what we're going to do is with this eye selected here, we're going to press Shift D so we have a duplicate eye. So I just pulled it out to the side just to make sure I knew it was duplicated. I'm going to right click. And with this 3D cursor here and with this, with the pivot point set to the 3D cursor and the 3D cursor here, what we're going to do now is we're going to press S to scale on the X-axis -1. Left click to lock in, and what that does is that just takes this eye that we duplicated and puts it perfectly on the other side. So very nice technique there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is give her some teeth. So what we're going to do is we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to click right here, turn this pivot point from the 3D cursor back to the medium point. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to press right click right here to put the 3D cursor here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go to the create menu here. We're going to choose cube, and now that we have this cube here, what we're going to do is we're going to hit tab to go into edit mode. Don't be confused either by me going. Blender just has so many different ways for you to get into modes. The tab is one way. You can also click here to go into edit mode. Anyway, now that we're in here, what we're going to do is we're going to click right here in this navigation tab, and we're going to choose local mode like we did before. We're now going to hit W to bring up our specials menu, and we're going to choose subdivide. You're going to look for your subdivide menu right here all the way to the left, and down bottom left. You're going to turn this up to 3 for the number of cuts. You're then going to hit S to scale on the Z axis and bring this in about like that. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to press either Z to get to wireframe, or just so you know about it, you can click here and you can also go to wireframe. Hopefully that's not confusing you. As I was going through these different modes, I was like, I want you to know about the different modes, especially for people that are on laptops where they don't have a full keyboard. Anyway, now that we're in wireframe mode, we're going to hit A to deselect. We have make sure you have your face selected like I already had mine here. You're going to press B for box select. You're going to grab this half of the box is here. You're going to press X to bring up your delete menu. You're going to choose faces. To delete those faces here, because we have our pivot point 3D cursor right here, we're perfectly set up for our mirror modifier. I believe that when you come into local mode, it puts your 3D cursor right in the center automatically. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, with it, as long as it's here, you're good. For your mirror modifier, so you're going to click here. We're going to click mirror, so we have this side mirrored over that side. We're going to put a check mark here for clipping, and then we're going to click this arrow looking thing that makes it look like the modifier is applied. We're now going to go into the top view. Okay, and with the top view selected, we're going to press A to select everything. We're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis. About like that. We're then going to press R to rotate just slightly. About like that. Then I'm going to hit A to deselect everything. You're going to go to edge select. You're going to press B for box select. Select these edges here. You're going to pull straight back like this. Then you're going to press R to rotate. Take your manipulator, push in a little bit like that. I'm just going to push this down in a little bit. Now you're going to press E to extrude. Take it out like this. You're going to take your manipulator, push here. You're going to hit R to rotate. Basically what we're going here is 6 sections. So we have 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to hit E to extrude. Come back like this. Push in here. And now we want this to be facing, flat here. So what we're going to do is hit S to scale on the Y axis 0. And that just gives us totally flat going back. So there's 4 sections here. We need 2 more. So we're going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis. So we're going to go here. Then one more time, E to extrude on the Y axis here. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to press A to deselect. You're going to hit Z and choose a solid. And you're going to do paint select. Roll my mouse wheel to make the paint select smaller. Oh, I'm going to right click to get out so I can choose face select. Actually, I'm going to roll in with my mouse wheel there. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hit C for paint select again. I'm going to select all of these faces right here. With these face select on and all these faces selected, we're going to press X to bring up our delete menu. Then we're going to choose faces to delete all of the faces there. And now we're going to hold our middle mouse button. Just so we can see a front view. We're going to, with face select still on, we're going to hold Alt. We're going to press right here, right on an edge of this top loop, and it grabs this whole loop right there. With that loop selected, we're going to press Alt S, special kind of scale that makes things grow. Kind of makes them grow thicker. Just like that. You're going to press Alt and do the same thing here. Grab right on the edge. Grab that bottom loop. You're going to press Alt to scale, or Alt S to scale. Like that. Okay, and now with that done, what we're going to do is we're going to hit A to deselect. We're going to hit C for paint select. We're going to select all of these faces right here on the bottom. And if you look, it's not totally flat. So what we're going to do is hit S to scale on the Z axis 0, and that totally flattens it out. Okay, now you're going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button just to turn the view a little bit. The face select still on. I'm going to select here. I'm going to hold shift and select all of these faces here. I'm now going to hit I'm going to press Alt E to bring up our extrude menu. I'm going to choose individual faces. I'm going to left click to lock in, and when I manipulate, I'm just going to push down slightly. I'm then going to turn this pivot point from the medium point to individual origins. I'm then going to hit I'm going to make sure that you turn off clipping temporarily. Now you're going to hit S to scale. And what this is doing is we're forming teeth, so this is giving us the space in between the teeth. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis. So we're already on Z. If you're not on Z, just push Z. And you're just going to bring it down like that. Looks pretty good. See if this space is too much for you. You can press A and then just slightly, Control Z because I don't have clipping on. Turn clipping back on, and you can push, and you won't have quite as big a space right there. Okay, and now what we want to do is we want to put a subdivision surface on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to click here, and we're going to choose move this out of the way. Doesn't do too bad until we go to the modifiers, this screencast key. So we're going to click here. We're going to go to subdivision surface, and you can see this, that when we have the subdivision surface on here, look what it does to the teeth. And we'll click this, we'll click view up to 2, and we'll click this little triangular shape, and we don't want the teeth to be like that, and it's fairly easily dealt with. We can deal with that very similar how we dealt with the eyes. We hit Control R, put a loop cut here, and we just, take this loop cut and just pull it straight down, and you can see that it makes the teeth get back their harder look here. Whoops, didn't want that. Control R. So I'm just putting a loop cut over each of these teeth, and I'm just pulling straight down. Okay, now that we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to press A, and then Shift at D. So now we have a separate, set of teeth and gums. Then we're going to hit S to scale on the Z-axis, -1. And then left click to lock in. We move the screencast back over here. Now we're just going to push this down like this. You can see how it has like this funny looking shade to it. The reason why it has that funny looking shade to it is because the normals aren't right because of the way that we switch this around. What normals are is normals are basically the direction that polygons face. So the normals are not facing outward. So we can easily fix that by pressing Control N, which means oops, wait a second, Control N. Normally Control N works. Control N, okay, it's not working. So if Control N doesn't work, what we can do is, because Control N means recalculate normals, we can press W to bring up our W to bring up our specials menu. Then we can choose right here where it says flip normals, and then you can see that worked. It flipped the normals so that they look, how they should look. Okay, now with that done, we're going to click View Global/Local to go back into global mode. We're going to click here to go back into object mode, and we're going to take these teeth. See that pivot point right there, right in the center? We can use that to line this up. We're just going to push them into place. I'm going to roll the middle mouse wheel to zoom in. Hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm just going to hit S to scale. Like that. Okay, what we're going to do now is you're going to press A to deselect. I zoom in here on the mouth. I select on the female body mesh. I'm going to click here and turn this back to medium point. I'm going to click here and go to edit mode. I'm going to go to we're on edge select. I'm going to actually pull this down some here, pull this up here, strange as this looks to you, pull this out some here. Basically what I'm doing is just trying to get it ready for when we put the subdivision surface on it. I'm also going to hit Control R to put a loop cut right here because I don't want it to look like she is frowning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this edge right here. I'm going to press Alt O to turn on my connected proportional edit, and I press G so we can see the area of influence there. And I'm just going to push this in some. I'll grab this and push this in some as well. Okay, and now what we're going to do is zoom back. We're going to go into front view. I'm going to hit Z to go into wireframe mode. I'm going to hit A to make sure everything is deselected. Hit A twice just to make absolutely sure everything was deselected. I'm going to go to vertice select. I'm going to turn off this connected proportional edit by clicking disable here. I'm going to hold Control and the right mouse button to draw a loop select. And all of these vertices right here I want. So you can see right there what I grabbed there. And now I'm just going to pull this to the side like this. Oh, not too much. About like that. I'm going to hit A to deselect there. Now I'm going to hold Control and then hold the right mouse button again. I'm going to draw another loop. Actually, I don't want there. Sorry. I'm going to grab down here. All of this. I'm going to hit front to go into front view. I'm just going to pull this up slightly. About like that. Hit A to deselect. Okay, now what we're going to do is hit Z to go back into solid mode. We're going to go to our edge select. Hold shift and middle mouse button to pan. See this nice square thing right here, or not so nice? We're going to fix that. I'm going to hold Alt, select here. I'm going to hit W to bring up our specials menu, go to loop tools, and then choose circle. And it just rounded that out right there. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to hit Control R to put a loop cut right here. Bring this into about here. Left click to lock in. I'm going to hit A to deselect. I'm going to press Control R to put another loop cut right here. And left click, twice to lock that in. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to, with the edge select still on, I'm going to grab this edge right here, pull this out to the side just a little bit. I'm also going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to grab this edge right here and pull that out like so. I'm going to press Control R, put a loop cut right here. I'm now going to go to face select. I'm going to select right here these 4 faces. And I'm going to hit W. And then W to bring up our specials, then loop tools, then circle. And now you're just going to take your manipulator and push out here. And spread out just slightly. All right, now you're going to hit E to extrude, left click to lock in. We just created new geometry. You're going to hit S to scale in just a little bit. You're going to take your manipulator and push out a little. Then you're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, hit S to scale down. And you're going to push out some more. And again, it's just, we're just getting the basics of everything set up here. So if somebody's like, my gosh, she looks so strange, yes, she does, because she's in progress. Okay, now we're going to hit Control R. We're going to put a loop cut right here. Left click to lock in. We're going to hit S to scale on the X axis. We're going to hold our middle mouse button, turn to the side. We're going to hit S to scale on the Y axis. We're going to hit O to turn on our proportional edit. We're going to go to, we're on edge select. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm then going to hit a G and then Y to push this in. We're going to hold shift in the middle mouse button to pan up, roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. We're going to go to face select. We're going to click here, turn off proportional edit. We're going to hit E to extrude, create new geometry, left click to lock in. We're going to hit S to scale. We're going to push this a little bit closer. Then we're going to hit E to extrude on the Y axis to push this in some. Then we're going to hit S to scale it in a little. We're now going to go right here. We're going to hit Control R to put a loop cut right here. And then we're going to roll so we have 3 more loop cuts. So there's 1 loop cut, 2 loop cuts, 3 loop cuts, 4 loop cuts. And then we're going to left click to lock in, left click to lock in, all the way. Now what we're going to do is zoom in. We're going to hit A. We're going to zoom in to the face. And actually what we're going to do is we're going to hit Z. We're going to go to wireframe. We're going to hold control in the right mouse button. We're going to take a loop select. So loop select around the whole head. I'm trying to dodge the neck for the most part. Got a vertice select. And temporarily turn off the eyes. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit S to scale on the x-axis. Not too much. Push in some. Hit C to go to our pie menu. Then we're going to select solid. Now we'll turn our eyes back on. I'm actually going to turn the 1 on. I'm going to go to click here to go to object mode. Grab this eye, push in a little bit. Push this back just slightly. Good. I'm going to click here on the female body, and actually clicked on this. Let me name this. I'll double click here. I'm going to name this Fem Body. Okay, so I'm going to click here to go to edit mode. I'm going to select right here. I'm going to go to edge select. I'm going to select right here in the eye. You hold shift in the middle mouse button to pan down. I'm going to just grab this edge right here. I'm just going to pull this back some. Push it over a little bit. Object mode. I'm just going to hit S to scale, make this go down just a little bit in size. Edit and come back to here. Select all these edges right here. Whoops. Control Z. I don't want it moving. I don't want it to move. I'm going to press Alt O. I'm going to hit G to move on the Y axis with the proportional edit tool. Push it back some. And I'm actually going to take this other eye, which is all whacked out now. Second eye. Right here. I'm going to hit right click here and choose delete. I'm going to, how's my mouth looking now? Okay, for now I'm going to select this eye here. I'm going to press here to go in the front view. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate this eye again. So I duplicated, I right clicked it. I'm going to hit Shift C. Puts the 3D cursor right there in the center again. You remember we did this before. I'm going to click, whoops, not that. I'm going to click here and go to 3D, change this pivot point to 3D cursor. Okay, and just like we did before, I'm going to press S to scale on the x-axis, -1, to put that other eye right on the opposite side there. I'm going to click back on the Fem Body. change this back to medium point. I'm going to click here to go into edit mode. And then now what we're going to do, kind of like the moment of truth, we're going to select A to select the whole fem body. We're going to click, we're already in the modifier mode. We're going to click here. Move this out of the way again. We're going to click here and we're going to choose a subdivision surface. And then with that subdivision surface on, we're going to hit Z. Then we're going to choose shade smooth. Move this back over here. Now we're going to click this triangle right here. We're going to click this plus right, this view. We're going to change this to 2 right there. So now we get our first look at our body with it being smooth, and we still have a lot of work to go. But we have the basic shape. I'll go into object mode so you can get a look at it without, you know, all of the hard shapes on it. So it still has a lot of work to go, but we now have our subdivision surface on to give you a little bit better idea of what's going on now. Okay, and what we can do is it's a lot easier, I think, to work in without the subdivision surface on. So even though we have it on, we can click this eye and be right back to it. And we're going to click edit to go back in here, and there's some other things we do need to do. I'm going to actually click here, turn this off, and grab this lip part right here, pull this up a little bit more. I know it looks weird in this mode where you're like, why would you do that? Let's pull this down some. Just easier to shape in here. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to hit A to deselect there. I'm going to hold shift and middle mouse button to pan. We're going to hold Alt, then we're going to select right here this loop. We're then going to hit Z to go to wireframe. And now what we're going to do is we're going to hit C for paint select, and we're just going to use our ability to erase for paint select. So we're going to hold the middle mouse button, and we're just going to erase this line going around the head. Leave the rest of the lines. We're going to hit the rest of that loop selected, edge loop selected. We're going to hit Z, then go back to solid. And what we're going to do now is we're going to hit S to scale. No axis. A little bit there. Now we're going to hit S to scale any Y axis. And now we're going to click our eye to turn our subdivision surface back on. With A to deselect there. And now what we're going to do is, this is, if you did my other female tutorial, this is kind of the fun part now. We're going to just making sure I'm in this edit mode for the body. We're going to click and we're going to go to sculpt mode. And yeah, this is kind of the fun part. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click here to go into our tools menu. The main tools we're going to be using are grab, smooth. We might use some clay and probably inflate. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to take our smooth. We're going to hit F. If you hit F and push in, your area of influence for your smooth brush will go down. You hit F, pull the other direction, it'll go up. Smooth tends to be very strong, so I recommend you take your strength down to like 120, something like that, very low. And smooth just takes out edges like this. Just rub, watch this. Look at that. Lovely. Just smooths it out. And I'm on a very low setting because I don't like when it gets away from me. When I start losing control, I don't like that. So we'll smooth this out here. Let's smooth in there. Very nice. Oops, not too much. Control Z. Yeah, it gets away from you fairly quick. So sometimes you can use it and just push it. You can see that line there was to put like that line that people have. See these here, that sharp point there. And like how this, you want your smooth low, so you can take this and get that line down so it's not super harsh. This here. And now with the grab tool, what we can do is grab like this. So she has some meat on her. And that's what I was telling you before about having the basic shape. Once the basic shape is there, you can, there's a lot that you can do. This right here, we'll go to the inflate brush. And just remember we put those 4 loop cuts in. So you can just inflate here. And if it doesn't seem like it's doing enough, we can go to clay. A lot of times I think you should. It's not. Let's see which side is actually there. Okay, this side's actually here. If you're in here and you're not getting basically what you want, like you're pushing on things and it's not giving you what you want, what you can do is you can click here, scroll down, and then select a wire. And you see how it's showing like lines everywhere? Okay, what we can do now, that so we don't want to have too many lines to, you know, distract us, because basically these lines are showing where we can manipulate things. What you do is click back on this modifier button, look for your subdivision surface, and right here is your optimum display button. To put a check mark right here, and now you can see where you actually can click at, and still doesn't give me what I want, so I'm going to go here to grab, and you can actually just grab and then smooth down. So you can make your female however you like. I like Bruce Timm, like, you know, curvy female, so yes, my female's going to have curves. You can make her, you know, however you want. This is the cool part here. But you can come in here and not, you know, get the shape you want. And a lot of techniques with a lot of techniques for inflating and stuff will work with many different types of models. So we're going to click deflate, inflate. You can just aim for like the edges, the outside edges, and a lot of times I like to overdo it and then come back and smooth. Let's try now that I have that pulled out. Is it working any better with inflate here? Then I'll just go to smooth and smooth it down. Now I got it too low. And yeah, this is one of them things I said in the original thing. I was like, yeah, people come in like, why do you keep, you know, it does look funny. It's amusing to me doing this. Imagine nobody's in the room. My wife actually just went to pick up my daughter, and I'm glad, because not that I'm doing anything strange, but I can imagine somebody walking in and seeing you taking a mouse and rubbing it, you know, vigorously on this 3D thing, you know. I don't know. There was a guy I was watching a tutorial the other day. It was hilarious because he said he was saying something. He was looking at some pictures of women, And the pictures of women he was looking at, he was doing a Blender tutorial. He was looking at the wrinkles in their clothing, and he said, "Yeah, only in Blender where you have pictures of a beautiful screen on a computer screen, and you're sitting there saying, look at the wrinkles, look how the wrinkles. Pay close attention to the wrinkles because it was a tutorial on doing wrinkled clothing." So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, here you're just gonna, grab and pull, get the basic shape that you want. Sometimes when you grab, it's because remember you have a mirror modifier on it, so that's where it might actually be useful to you to, I guess, go like this. Whoops. Okay, it's not doing it in here. Or I mean, you could go to stream and take that away, but yeah, grab is very useful in here, and grab allows you to do a lot. Just gonna hold shift and middle mouse button, pan. I'm going to go and I'm going to click back on here. Remember, this is how we turned on this wire. We can click here again to take it off. You got to be careful with that line. You can see this up here in this chest. Smooth. Sometimes it's better just to click here. Hit F and push in. Make it smoother, or may make it smaller, your smooth brush. Turn this up a little bit. I think I'm actually going to go back into edit mode. I'm going to grab here and here. And here. I'm going to press Alt O. I'm going to hit G. Turn on my vertice select. Hit G, then Z. I'm going to pull this up a little bit, shrink that down. Up some there. Select here. Vertice select. Shrink this down. I want the mouth open, but I don't want it open too much. Actually, let me go into object mode. Select the teeth. Let me name this cube teeth, so you know where it's at. Push this forward a little bit. There we go. Back on here, edit mode. Whoops. Object mode. Edit, there we go. I'm going to select here. Actually, gonna adjust his chin. This one you can start. I gotta remind myself, it's like, look, you're doing a tutorial, don't get too crazy here. You're doing a tutorial, don't get crazy. I'm gonna hit G. Wait a second. G, then Y. Let this chin to be forward a little bit more. Just pull that out to the side so this eye isn't coming out over the edge there. We got this here. With G, we'll shrink this down. Grab this vertice here, hit G, then Y. G, and on the X axis, nope, can't move it on the X axis, we push it into the eye. So we'll see here a little bit like that. Grab here, hit Alt O for proportional, connected proportional edit. We're going to hit G, X just a little. There we go. G, then X. Oh, just a little here. I think I'm going to grab here. And hit G, then X to push in a little. G, then X. Maybe I'll G, then Z to pull down. Alright, Ali, you're in that tutorial. Don't get too caught up messing with minute vertices. Don't get too caught up. You're in a tutorial. Okay. Let's give her some personality. See, this loop right here is very close. What I'm going to do is grab here, disable. I'm just going to pull that back slightly because I was almost on top of the other loop, and I can see that being nothing but problems. So what we're going to do is let's give her a little bit of personality. So I'm going to grab right here. I'm going to hit Control Space, turn off this manipulator temporarily. I'm going to grab right here. I'm going to hit Control Space to bring it back. I'm going to hit Alt O to turn on the proportional editing. I'm going to hit G, then Z to pull up slightly. A little bit back. Then we're going to go to grab some vertices right here. We're going to hit G, then Z. Up here some, push out some there. We're going to grab here, these vertices here, hit G and then Z on the Z axis. Okay, so let's grab right here. We're going to hit G and then X. So a little bit of a wider small. Now we're going to click here and go into object mode so we can see. So not bad. Go back into edit mode. Okay, let's go back into sculpt mode. It doesn't look quite right. Be adults, people. Doesn't look right. And it's probably because of the mirror. Pull down there. Inflate here just a little bit. If I'm inflating it all, it's funny because when you're in here, sometimes you'll push on something, nothing happens, and you're like, yeah, it's moving, it's moving. Your mind will play tricks on you. So sometimes you see, I saw something, but sometimes what you have to do is just go and do extreme things. See, I'm not grabbing the arm, but I'm grabbing the thighs, right? Which is kind of interesting how to do that sometimes. I'm holding shift and middle mouse button to pan. So it's like, why won't it let me grab the arm? It's kind of weird. If you really start struggling, you can always, like I said, turn this off. Go here. There we go. Grabbing the side that wasn't real. A little bit of shape to her arms, not too much, nothing crazy. Her hand is looking kind of big there. So we'll go back into edit mode. What we're going to do is we're going to hit Z, go to wireframe, we're going to hit A. We're going to go to, I'm holding control my right mouse button. And what I'm doing here is I'm pushing in to make the hand a little bit smaller. Now what I'm going to do is grab the whole hand. I'm going to that's the scale a little bit. I'm going to go back into sculpt mode, hit Z, go to solid, and it looks a little bit better. You can get caught up trying to, your brain. Like I said, I have to remind myself. It's like you're doing a tutorial. All right, you're doing it. It's like okay. I say that I can make it. I can keep myself going. Okay, let's adjust this face a little bit more. I'm going to hold shift and middle mouse button to pan. I'm just rolling in to zoom. Holding shift and middle mouse button to pan down. We're going to go to our grab tool. And what we're going to do is just grab this cheek here. And we're just going to hit F, pull back to get a little bit more area. We're just going to pull. Just like that. I literally give us some more cheek structure there. And if we get too much, good old smooth tool can always come in and take out harder lines. Okay, what we're going to do now is just make some more adjustments to the lips. We're going to go back to edit mode. Hold shift and middle mouse button to pan. I'm actually, Control Z. Hit G and tone this down. Pull this back some like this. Pull this back some. Just small adjustments here. too prominent. Let's back some. Something like this. Oops. Push this forward. And I click back to sculpt mode just to take a look at the lips. Go back to edit. One of the things is we want to have these lips defined a little bit more. And one of the reasons why it popped them out was I was trying to get them to be more defined, and I took a little break from the video. My friend Mike Pilcher and Joe Sang gave me a little bit of instruction, and one of the things I learned from Mike Pilcher was hit Control B here and pull and put this bevel in. If I click and go into sculpt, we should have a much more defined line there, so we don't need to have it popped out as much like I did. So I'll go to edit mode. Okay, I'm going to grab these edges here. We'll pull this back a little bit more. Small adjustments. Just going in the sculpt mode to take a quick look. Back in the edit mode. Holding shift and just selecting these right here. G and then Z. Pull this up some more. Just going to sculpt. The reason why I'm going to sculpt mode is it's an easy way to click and see it without the lines. I'm going to go quickly, go to smooth here. Smooth that out just a little. And we're in scope mode. Grab this chin right here. Whoa. Control Z. Now let's make some adjustments while we're here. Right, sometimes it's better just to go in the edit mode. Each thing has its advantages and negatives. And those things that I'm talking about are sculpt mode and edit mode. Yeah, I'm going to grab these. I'm going to select faces. Sorry, my brain is like, you want to know when I'm like thinking hard is when I am quiet, because my brain is engaging. And I auto rotate on the x-axis. Just tilt that up some. Back in this. That's one of the beautiful things in Blender is how easily you can go back and forth between sculpt mode and edit mode in Blender. Let's go to smooth. Smooth this out some here. Let me hit N and take away that grid floor. And a little bit more. Sometimes you gotta, there we go. Sometimes you gotta move around. Just gonna pull this cheek out a little bit. Do it in edit mode. Pull this down some. Small adjustments. I'm going to try not to get too caught up. Just going into scope mode to take a quick look. Excuse me. I'm going to soften this nose up a little bit while I'm in here. Just using that grab tool, I'm just going to pull this up a little bit. See this nose right here, the nostril. We're going to go into edit mode, and this is a, excuse me, cool little trick. Grab right here. It's another thing I learned from when Mike and Joe Sang were showing me some stuff. Fellow artists, friends of mine. I'm going to press Control B. Just do a slight pull. Like that. Now we go back into sculpt mode. We can see we have some, it's defined a little bit. Not quite what we want, but oops. Control Z, F, G here. I'm going to just put a smooth tool to smooth that out just a little bit, but we still can see now, that nostril there. It's moving here just a little. I can edit a few more, then we'll move on. It's rough. You see things and you're like, do I leave it in there, or do I try to make it better? Or though you heard me already say, I'm not sure if I said it here, where I'm like, it's a tutorial. Remember, you're doing a tutorial. Taking a look at it. Grab here. Actually, I'm gonna pull the whoops. Control Z, G, shrink this down. Like I said, I'm sorry for the silence. My brain is fully engaged here. You see, I pulled that up there, and it took away the kind of bulge of the lip. Just learned this trick. It's pretty cool. Or technique. You grab here, get that good old bevel tool. Grab here. Okay, and then you hit Control B. Just pull slightly. Go to Scope, and now you can see we have a nice hard line right there. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to go into Edit mode. Actually, we're going to go to Object mode. We're going to select this eye. We're going to click Edit mode. And now we're going to give her some eyelashes. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to turn off this proportional edit. We're going to be on Edge Select. I'm going to zoom in close. We're actually going to select this edge right here. And with that edge selected, you're going to hit Shift D to duplicate. You're going to push out very slightly, barely. You want it pretty much touching. You're now going to hit E to extrude. Then left click to lock in. Okay, and with that new extra geometry created by that extrusion, we're just going to push straight out like this. We're going to push up some. We're going to actually pull it back some like that. Then we're going to select right here. Okay, now with this edge selected, we're going to press E to extrude again, left click to lock in. We're just going to take our manipulator and pull this out. We're going to go to face select here. We're going to press Control. I'm going to auto rotate on the X axis like this. I'm going to go to vertice select. Grab this vertice, push in here, pull back. Grab this vertice, pull up a little bit more there. Okay, now what we're going to do. Let me move this over here a little bit. As you're going to move this down and over here, we're going to go to face select. You're going to select this face. You're going to hold shift and select this face, this face, this face, and this face. You're now going to go to your material button here. You're going to click new. You're going to click this plus button, which is all the way to the right. Don't get confused between this button, this plus button here, and this plus button. The plus button you want is the one to the right and up. You're going to click here. You're going to click new. You're going to go to diffuse. You're going to take this down. You're going to make this a very darkish gray, almost black. And then you're going to click assign, and it just makes it easier for us to see what we're working here. So we're making eyelashes there. We'll go into scope mode and see our eyelash there. Come back into edit mode, and what we want to do is hit Z and then shade smooth for that. Now we'll come back into scope mode just to take a look at it. We need to push this down, so we're going to go edit, go to vertice select. Okay, and we can't quite see it, but we click here. We can guesstimate there's a vertices. We're just going to pull that down and back a little. Take that back a little. This one here, small adjustments. what we're going to do now is we're going to go into object mode. We're going to select this eye. We're going to press X to delete this eye. We have our 3D cursor right here. If your 3D cursor is off over here, press Shift C, puts it right back there in the center. And then you're going to change this. You want to change the pivot point from the regular medium point to the 3D cursor. You're going to select this eye. You're going to hit Shift D, pull it out to the side. Or I just pull it out to the side to make sure I actually have a duplicate of it. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to hit with the pivot point on the 3D cursor. I'm going to press S to scale on the X-axis -1, and now I have my, easily we have our eyelashes on that eye as well. Now, let's give this girl some hair. So what we're going to do is we're going to click here, turn this back to our medium point. We're going to click on the body mesh here. We're going to go to edit mode. We're going to click right here at the top of the head. We're going to press Shift S to bring up our snap to menu. We're going to choose cursor to selected. The only reason why we went in here was to put the cursor there so we can go to object mode. Where in Blender, wherever the 3D cursor is at, is where objects tend to come in to. So we're going to press Shift A. We are going to go to curve and then Bezier. We're now going to press R to rotate on the X-axis 90. Left click to lock in. We're then going to press R to rotate on the Z-axis 90. Left click to lock in. Okay, now I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Push this down a little on the way here. We're going to hit S to scale. Whoops. We're going to press S to scale. S to scale again. Pull this back some here. We'll lift this up some. Now we're going to go to our curve settings here. We're going to take this up to 5 for the bevel and the resolution up to 2. Nice little David Ward trick I learned. We're going to go to full. And then now with all of that done, we're going to go to object, go all the way up. If you don't see it, just take the arrow and it'll take you all the way up. Convert to menu. We're going to go to mesh from curve. That just changed this Bezier curve into a mesh. And now that it is a mesh, we're going to go into edit mode for it. Hit A to select it. We're going to press Alt A and make it grow fairly nice and thick there. Okay, now we're going to hit A to deselect. Now zoom in. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and shift the pan. I'm going to hold Alt and select this edge right here. I'm going to press Control F to bring up our faces menu. I'm going to choose grid fill. For that, now with that selected, I'm going to press S to scale. Scale that down about like that. Go to the back, do the same thing. Hit A to deselect. I'm going to hold Alt, select right here. Press Control F to bring up our faces menu, grid fill. I'm going to hit S to scale and scale this down. Pull it back some like that. Push it down some like that. Okay, and now I think I'm going to hit Control R, put 2 loop cuts here. I think I'm going to grab this front piece here. Push that out a little bit more. Push it down some. Rolling the middle mouse button out, holding Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to press Z to get my wireframe. I'm going to hit A to deselect, B for box select. I'm going to select these faces right here. I'm going to hit Q and then go to right. Remember, you can also go to your navigation and select a line, right from here. I'm going to hit O to turn on the proportional edit. I'm going to press R. Oh, where's my proportional? Okay, G. Hit C, my area of influence, which is there. Now I'm going to press R to rotate. Now I'm going to just grab this and push it down like so. Okay, too much. What's like the old thing and crap, didn't want that. Oh, turn that off. Hit Z to go back to solid mode. It's actually too big, so I'm going to hit S to scale. I don't want it interfering with the body too much. I want it to come down. But we'll take it there. Okay, what we want is for this pivot point to be this 3D cursor. So we're going to click here for our pivot point, change this to the 3D cursor. We're going to hit Shift D. Here's our duplicate, and because we're on the 3D cursor, we can press R to rotate on the Z axis, and there we go. So we're going to do the same thing again, Shift D, here you go. R to rotate on the Z axis. Shift D, same thing. R to rotate on the Z axis, and the hair is kind of like the body in that we want the basic, the basic setup there, I'll do it one more time. Shift D. Whoops. Control Z. R to rotate on the Z axis. Okay, what we're going to do now, we're going to go into object mode, and we're going to press Shift A. We're going to bring in an empty. We're going to make it a cube. And what an empty is a non-renderable object. It's very useful to have non-renderable objects. What we're going to do is hit S to scale, because you can use empties to control other things like cameras and what we're about to do right here. Sometimes when you make hair, the mirror modifier doesn't quite work right, so we're putting this empty here just in case. We're going to select here. We're going to click the modifier button. We're going to click. I'm going to click here. And we're going to choose mirror. And the mirror didn't work right. The mirror is over here because the pivot point's right there. But we can, because we put this empty here, what we can do is we can choose a mirror object. So we'll click here and we'll click our empty. And the empty works just like a pivot point, which is pretty cool. So now we're going to go back into edit mode. And we're going to press A to select everything. I'm going to pull this to the side a little bit like this. We're going to go back to object mode. It changes back to the medium point, which is Blender's default. We're going to apply this mirror modifier for the hair. Go back into edit mode. I'm going to select here, hit Control L. Okay, it only grabs that. Wasn't sure. Hit A. And hit Z to go to wireframe. I'm going to grab all of this part of the hair right here. Move this over slightly. I'm going to hit A. And then it's hard to see, people. I'm just getting it so it's a little bit off-centered. I'm going to hit Z, so now you'll be able to see what I did. So I just didn't want it exactly, centered. I wanted it off-center a little bit. And I'm going to hit A. Push it over a little bit that way. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go into sculpt mode and zoom back far. Our tool options, we're going to go to grab, and we're just with it back far. You can see you don't want to kind of like grab it in one stroke and pull it down. You want to gradually do it. You'll have better control that way, but just being back further like this makes your cursor bigger and your influence seem more very easy to manipulate the hair like this. Yeah, no, it looks funny right now. That's fine. the thing. You ever draw a picture as a kid and somebody comes up, let me see it. That drawing doesn't look right. Why do you have those lines there? Why do you got line? You got a line down the center and a line there. It's like it's not done yet. Hey, it looks funny. It's not done yet. It's like look at it when it's done. And then people are like, you know how long we've been watching this tutorial? Do you understand? We're still here with you and you're talking this nonsense. It's a long tutorial, Ali. I told about 2 months ago, a viewer of mine, Aiimayo, he asked me to do a full female tutorial. He probably by now was like, Ali said he would make the tutorial and he forgot. I didn't forget. Aiimayo, I hope that you are seeing this tutorial. Made this tutorial for you. I didn't forget. I know it was like 2 months ago. And one of the reasons why it took me so long to do it is you see how long this tutorial probably is. It's hard to tell when I'm making it how long it is, but that's why it took me so long. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to our inflate brush. Zoom this out again. We're going to inflate these up. I'm just taking the inflate and going right over here. You can see it's filling in the spaces. Go back to the grab brush and kind of maneuver these around a little bit more now. And you can do what you want with that hair. I was like, I want to go all the way through it. The hair I knew was going to take some time. I'm trying to go through it quickly, but I was like, I wanted to do, like the user's name is Aiimayo. I wanted to do, whoops, Control Z. I wanted to do pretty much everything because the original issue was I had made a female head tutorial and a body tutorial, and it is a pain in the butt. Connecting the head to the body is a pain in the butt. So he asked me to make a tutorial. I said I would do it. It's been a long time. I knew it would take. I figured I wanted to make it, something that would actually help him out. And even so I could, I even wanted to do it so I could see like my own progress since I made the last female tutorial. Which again, that one didn't have anywhere as much detail as this one. But I know it would take a long time, and I'm curious to see what the end run of this, how long this tutorial is going to be. Go back to the inflate. I really wanted there to be a semblance of hair, but it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I don't know. Spend too much time. So anyway, with the hair, we're going to go back to object mode. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to go back to edit mode. Select this, hit Control L. We're going to turn this pivot point back to the 3D cursor. We're going to hit Shift D. We're going to auto rotate on the Z axis and make a couple more of these. Select this one, hit Control L, hit Shift D, auto rotate on the Z axis like here. Shift D, auto rotate on the Z axis. Shift D, auto rotate on the Z axis, and it's not quite. Shift D, auto rotate on the Z axis. Shift D, R to rotate on the Z axis. Shift D, R to rotate on the Z axis. R to rotate on the Z axis. Shift D, R to rotate on the Z axis. Okay, now with that done, we're going to change this back to medium point. I'm going to hit A to select all the pieces. I'm going to push this over slightly. Turn on the proportional edit. Hit C for paint select. Hitting S to scale on the X axis. I guess I shouldn't do that. Let me hit Control Z. Control Z again. I'll grab it right here. Actually, let me turn on connected proportional edit. Hit A. Turn off connected proportional edit. Go back to sculpt mode. Whoops, for a little bit more work. G. Hit F to shrink to change the size of sculpt mode. Spawn this thing closer to the face. And then with this, drag this down just a little bit. Now what we're going to do is click here. We're going to go to inflate. And now we're just going to inflate this hair here. With that done, we're going to click here, go into object mode. We're going to add a, whoops, move this out of the way. We're going to add a subdivision surface modifier. Turn this up to 1 here. Okay, we are almost through this. Let's give this girl some clothes. So we're going to click edit. And what we're going to do is we're going to click actually right here. We're going to hold Alt with the edge select on. We're going to select here. We're going to hit V. And what V does is V rips things. It rips those edge loops. It rips, I guess it can rip more. It rips edges. So because I hit V, I'm going to left click to lock in. Now when I hit S to scale, you see that? That's scaling, and I don't want that. I want the other, but this is ripped now. So what I'm going to do is press Alt, and it's still giving me one. So I'll take this in a little bit. So basically what happened was I ripped that edge from here. So this is actually, we're still in the same object, which is the female body, but this is now technically two separate parts in this object. So I'm going to press Alt here. I'm going to hit S to scale. So now we have that, which is what I want. And I'm just going to pull this up. And you can imagine how just by ripping and pressing scale, you can get some fairly easy clothes, because it looks like, you know, now it looks like there's a shirt there. So now we'll go here. We'll hit V to rip. We'll hit S to scale. Okay, wrong thing. So we'll hit scale in the other direction. with A to deselect. A to, again, to make sure we're totally deselected. Now we'll hold Alt, press here with as the scale. We rip there, so we just push this down. So yeah, the ripping is kind of nice because it makes it look like and that's the scale and the y-axis. It's a fairly easy way to make it look like you have closed overlapping skin. Then to press Alt, I'm gonna hit as the scale here. Just trying to get this part right here. So pull this out some. These are overlapping here, which I didn't particularly want. If I can unclick this, see if we can fix this slightly. There, good. Right there. Recheck it there. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to roll the mouse wheel in. I'm going to hold Shift in the middle mouse button to pan down. We're going to go right here. We're going to hold Alt with Edge Select on. We're going to select here. So do I want to rip there or here? I want to rip here. So we're going to select here. We're going to hit V. So that's ripped now from hitting V. Left click to lock in with as the scale. And good, this is kind of what we wanted. So we're going to pull up here like this. Now we're going to hit E to extrude. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to hit Control Z. I'm going to deselect right here. Now we're going to hit this extrude. This didn't extrude. I'm going to hit Control Z. I'm going to hit E to extrude. Left click to lock in. I'm going to pull this out and up some. This out some. And I'm going to press E to extrude on the Z axis. Before I do that, I'm going to grab this edge right here in the front. It's kind of hard to see. Pull this out some more. There we go. So we're making a collar here. So we're going to push this down. Push this forward. Grab here. Edge select on, push this down, pull out to the side there. I'm gonna press Alt, select this loop here, and just drag this down. So I'm here like that. Okay, now we're gonna press Shift and the middle mouse button to pan down, and I will show you a trick. And what that trick is if you want to be able to press Control grab and grab a area, right? We ripped here, so this, if I want to select this to make some shorts, right? But if I press here, if I take face select and I select here, it'll grab everything. So when you set up UVs, you can mark seams. Excuse me. And normally marking seams is what you would do for setting up UVs, but you can also mark seams to make things easier to select. So what we're going to do is with Edge Select on, we're going to select right here, and we're going to press Control E, which brings up our Edges menu, and then we're going to choose Mark Seam. Because we have this seam here, now we can go to Face Select, select the face right here. Press Control L, and you see that we didn't go past the seam. So what we're going to do here actually is we're going to hit Shift D, left click to lock in, then we're going to press Alt S, and that just, whoops, too big, and we just made some shorts that way. Okay, so now we're just going to go to Edge Select and adjust some of these edges here so they're not interfering with other edges. And like anything, the more time you spend in something, of course you'll get better results. So we have shorts. Now we'll do right quick shoes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to press with Edge Select on, we're going to select right here. And it's not going to select that edge, so what we're going to do is hold shift and just manually select the edges going around. Press control space to temporarily take away the manipulator because it was getting in the way. And now we're going to press V to rip. So it's ripped. We're going to S to scale. So it's grabbing the wrong thing. So we're going to left click to lock in. Or right click to, sorry, not left click. We're going to hit S to scale this down some. Okay, and with that scaled down some, now we can grab this edge right here. So we're going to press Alt and select this edge, which is going to be our shoes. We're going to hit S to scale. Not too much, just a little. We're going to press control space to bring up back our manipulator. We're just going to pull up some here. We're then going to hit E to extrude, left click to lock in, and S to scale. Okay, not exactly what I wanted. S to scale, and we're going to push down some there. I'm actually going to press Control R to put another loop cut there. I'm going to press Control. No, what I'm going to do, sorry, I right click to get out of it. I didn't want to do that. I'm going to hold Alt and select right here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to press Alt and select these edge loops right here. I'm going to hit E to extrude. Select this again. I'm going to hit S to scale. Okay, and what we're going to do now is just turn here. Face select step 1. Hit A to deselect. We're going to hit C. Paint select this bottom part here. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis like this. It's wobbly, just hit Z again like that. We're then going to edge select on. We're going to hold Alt, select here. We're going to press Control B, pull just slightly, right? Control B bevels or splits an edge. And then we're going to press Control R to put a loop cut right in the center there. Left click twice to lock in. Now we're going to hit S to scale. And what this does is it gives us a kind of like a hard line for like to make it look like there's a, you know, a sole there. You know, the sole of a shoe. And let's see, what else can we do? I guess we can you know what, I'm just gonna leave it like that. We're gonna take a quick look at what we have here, and what we're gonna do is just go into cycles and add some materials, and just about done for those of you who have made it this long. Listen to me go on and on. Okay, so what we're going to do now is click here, go into object mode. We're going to click here, turn this to cycles renderer. I'm going to press Shift A to bring in a plane. Push this down here. I'm going to press Shift A. I'm going to bring in another plane. Hit S to scale. Move this up. Delete this light. X to bring up delete menu to delete that light. Very quickly, I'm going to set up my computer. Cycles. I'm going to click here. I have an NVIDIA card 600 series, I believe, so I can turn on GPU. Turn this down to HD TV 720. I go over this in other tutorials. If you have any questions about setting this up, just contact me and I'll try to help you out. Preview 100. Light paths 4, minimum 0, performance 512. Okay, sorry about that. So basically with these planes here made, we're going to select here. We're going to go to material for this plane right here. We're going to select this material here. We're going to click new, and we're going to go to diffuse, and then we're going to select emission. And now I'm going to click here and go to rendered, so you can see how everything looks here. Okay. And basically what we're going to do here, just quickly apply some materials here. Okay, so to make this easier, what we're going to do is I'm going to grab this little triangular looking thing here. I'm going to grab this, split the screen, so we'll see our render here. I'm going to hit T to take away this window, and T to take away that window there. So we can look here, and this will allow us to see what's going on with our colors. Okay, so we're going to click here. We're going to go to edit mode. And this here, I'm going to press face select. I'm going to select this face here. I'm going to press Control L to select the entire area of these shorts right here. Okay, and with those shorts selected, hopefully very quickly, we're going to press new. I'm going to click here, press new again. Click here. I'm going to just give her some dark or some gray shorts. And then with this whole area selected, we're going to choose assign. And if I click here, go to solid, then I click back to rendered, you can see the results right there. Okay, now we're going to go to face select again. We're going to select right here. We're going to press Control L. And then what we're going to do is click here, click new, diffuse. Well, what should I give her? Kind of like a bright blue color. Then we'll click assign. And I'll go here just like I did before. Solid. Turn this back to rendered, and now you can see there's the blue right there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to object mode. We're going to select the hair, go into edit mode, we'll click new. We're going to select here. We're going to go to mix shader. We're then going to change this to glossy. We're going to change this to I'm going to change this to diffuse. Pull this out so it's a little bit easier to see. Pick up brownish color for the hair. Make it fairly dark. Turn factor up for this. Doesn't look bad. So we just turn the factor on the mix shader for the glossy to 0.725. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to object mode and zoom in here. Select this eye. We're going to go into edit mode for the eye. We're going to go to face select, select the entire eyeball. We're going to click use nodes. We're going to click this plus button right here to the upper right. Click new. where it says surface diffuse BSDF. You're going to click here. You're going to go to mix shader. You're going to go to the top shader. You're going to choose glossy. You're going to go to the bottom shader and you're going to choose diffuse. And with the diffuse, you're just going to make sure this is all the way up. And you're going to click assign. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to hit A to deselect that. Hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Okay, now what you're going to do with face select still on, you're going to press C for paint select. You're going to select all of this right here. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to deselect the center part. I'm going to go here. I'm going to select the plus to the all the way to the right and up. I used to get confused between this plus and this plus. I'm going to click new. Select diffuse. Go to mix shader just like before. Change the top shader to glossy shader. You're going to go to the bottom shader and pick the actual color you want after picking diffuse. So pick this nice blue color here. And then we're going to press assign. We'll zoom in here so we can see what's going on with the eyes. So we'll click here, turn this to solid. Click here, turn it back to rendered. And if we take this factor and move it up, we can have more blue in the eye. So I have it at about the 700s you want it in. Okay, so now with that done, we're going to hit A. I'm actually going to hold Alt and select right here, this rim here. And just like before, I'm going to go up, select plus, new, change diffuse to mix shader, change the top shader to glossy. I'm going to change the bottom shader to diffuse. I'm going to pick a similar color to the blue we just had. So I'm going to bring it down some so it's darker. And then I'm going to click assign. And I'm going to select here, take this back to solid, and then back to rendered. And I'm going to take this factor up to about 7. Yeah, I guess I'll take it even more than that. That's fine. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to press C again. We're going to paint this area right in the center there. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go up to new, come down to new, click here, go to mix shader, click here, go to glossy, come down here, select diffuse. I'm going to select a nice dark gray. And we'll select assign. Click here, turn this to solid and turn it back to rendered. And then we can see our eye right there. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to select face select here. When we select it there, it automatically deselected there. We're going to hold shift, select one face here. We're going to press Control L. And we're then going to click right here. We're going to go to hex, select here, and we're going to enter 55E 5B2. Then left click to lock in. Then I'm going to take this down so it's a little bit darker. Not too dark. Guess that's fine. Okay, so now we have this eye all set up here. Okay, and now what we're going to do, very similar to what we did before. We're going to go into object mode. We're going to zoom back. We're going to select this eyeball here. Hit X, choose delete. Okay, we're then going to select this eye. Press Shift D to duplicate. I'm just going to pull it to the side. I'm going to right click it so it jumps right back in. I'm going to press Q. Go to front view. Zoom back. Hold Shift and middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to press Shift C to make the mouse go, the cursor be directly center. I'm going to click here to turn the pivot point to a 3D cursor. Because I still have that duplicated eye selected, I'm going to press S to scale on the X-axis -1, and now we have that eye, perfectly put into the other side, and we still, we have our colors on it now. Okay, I'm going to roll this back some. Excuse me. Go through our shoes. Change this back to the median pivot point. We're going to go to edit mode here. And I'm just going to hit C for paint select. And then with that selected there, I'm going to click here and click new. Okay, I'm just going to select color here. I'm going to choose the eyedropper. Choose the color there. I'm going to click assign. And actually, do I want, let's see. So I'm going to click here, turn it to solid. Back, turn it to rendered, and there we can see our shoes right there. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to hold the middle mouse button, turn to the side, zoom back, and hit A to deselect those shoes. Okay, now we're going to do it face select on. We're going to select right here, one face here. We're going to zoom in, hold shift. We still have that face selected there. We're going to select one face here. We're going to select one face here. We're going to press Control L, and we're then going to click here, click new, color, and we're going to select hex, and we're going to choose FF E5B2 or whatever skin color you want. This is only one flesh color. Then we're going to click assign. We're going to click here, go to solid, click here, go to rendered. It looks actually kind of yellow there. Closer look at the face. Like greenish a little bit. I don't know. Maybe it's because of green. Anyway, you guys have already been here for a long time. So we're going to zoom in here. What we're going to do is we're going to select these lips. Holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. holding shift, selecting all of these faces. These ones are a little bit different. Remember, you can always just zoom in. You're having a hard time getting the harder to reach faces of the lips. Okay, we want to grab right here as well. Okay, and what we're going to do is click here, click new, go to diffuse, change this to mix shader, grab the first shader, change this to glossy, change the second shader, change this to diffuse, select the color. And we're going to click assign. Oops. Wait, it came back. We have some lipstick on there. Okay, and there is one thing I do want to do, but let's go to object mode. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button and pan down, zoom back. I'm going to select the eye. We're going to click edit mode. I'm going to select right here. The eyes look a little bit, didn't look dark enough to me for this part, so I'm actually just going to change this, turn this up to about 824 is fine, and because this eye is duplicated, it's changing on any other eyeball as well. The material's changing in the other eyeball as well is what I mean. Okay, there's one more thing we have to do. Let me grab this, move this over. So we're going to click here, go into object mode. Select right here. We're going to go into edit mode here. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to go to edge select. We're going to select this edge here. We're going to hold shift, select this edge here, this edge here. I'm going to hold shift in the middle mouse button to pan over slightly. Okay, and with these edges selected, what we're going to do is we're going to press Shift D to duplicate the edges, left click to lock in. We're going to move this up. Hold my middle mouse button, turn to the side. We're going to push this out a little bit. Move it up a little bit more. Push it over just a little. I'm going to hit S to scale in the X axis some. We're going to hit E to extrude on the Z axis and take this up. I'm going to press Control L to grab the entire thing. I'm going to press R to rotate on the Z axis. That. I'm now going to click plus here. I'm then going to click new, just like we did before. Okay, now I'm just going to click here and select a color. And I'm just going to click a assign. Move this over. I'll click to solid. I'll click back to rendered. Try a little bit darker. Click assign again. Okay, and then one more thing, we're gonna press Control R, put a loop cut right here. I'm gonna go to face select. I'm gonna select this face right here. I'm gonna hit S to scale and just scale it up just slightly. I'm gonna hit G to move on the Y axis to pop this out slightly. I'm gonna press Control L to grab that entire eyebrow, move this over here that. Okay, now I'm just going to turn to the side to make sure these aren't too far out. So I'm going to hit E to extrude on the y-axis. Give them just a little bit of depth. I'm going to press Control L. I'm just going to take the manipulator and put them back. Okay, now I'm going to press Z and choose a smooth shade for the eyebrows. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just grab this triangular looking shape right here, left click and hold, and just drag this to the side. So we have one screen again instead of the split screen. Okay guys, that's it for the tutorial. To the YouTube user ICU, you asked me to make a tutorial dealing with making a female character and showing the head, the face, the body. So here you go. I greatly hope you see this tutorial. I did not forget about you. It just took me a while to get around to it. To all of those of you out there who like the videos on this channel and reshare them, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. And to those of you who are new to this channel, if you like the videos on this channel and you would like to see more, please subscribe and thank you for viewing.